Imagine a world connected, a globalized civilization 3,000 years before our own. Mighty empires corresponding in letters of gold. Palaces so vast they were called labyrinths. Trade routes that stretched from the shores of Europe to the sands of Egypt, carrying copper, tin, gold, and wine. This was the late Bronze Age, the world of the Hittites, the Mycenaean Greeks, the new kingdom of Egypt. For centuries, they were the titans of the earth. And then, in the span of a single generation, they vanished. Great cities were not just conquered, they were obliterated. Entire populations disappeared. Writing systems forgotten. The sophisticated web of diplomacy and trade that had defined their world shattered into dust. Historians call it the Great Collapse, a catastrophe so profound it plunged the Mediterranean into a dark age that would last for centuries. In the smoking ruins of this lost world, Egyptian scribes carved a name for the catastrophe, a name that still echoes with mystery. They called them the Sea Peoples. They came from the sea, a migrating horde, a conspiracy in their islands, the pharaoh wrote. They swept across the land and sea, leaving nothing but fire and death. But who were they? Where did they come from? And how could this mysterious confederacy bring the most powerful empires on earth to their knees all at once? This is the story of the greatest unsolved mystery of the ancient world, a story we are only now beginning to piece together, one fragment at a time. This is the puzzle of the Sea Peoples. To understand the collapse, we must first understand the world that was lost. The year is 1300 BCE. The Mediterranean is not a barrier, it is a highway. In Greece, the Mycenaeans are building their citadels at Mycenae and Pylos. This is the world Homer would later write about, the world of Agamemnon and Achilles. Their palaces are run by a complex bureaucracy, tracking every jar of olive oil and every fleece of wool on thousands of clay tablets, written in a script we call Linear B. To the east, in modern-day Turkey, lies the mighty Hittite Empire, a superpower built on military might and the world's first constitutional monarchy. Their capital, Hattusa, is a fortress city, its archives filled with diplomatic treaties. And to the south, the undisputed Titan, the new kingdom of Egypt. Led by pharaohs with names like Ramesses the Great, Egypt is wealthy beyond imagination, its power projecting far into the Levant. These powers, along with Babylon and Assyria, were part of an exclusive Great Powers Club. We know this because we found their letters, the Amarna letters, discovered in Egypt. They wrote to each other in Akkadian, the international language of the day, like English is today. They called each other brother. They traded lavish gifts, gold, chariots, lapis lazuli, and they married each other's daughters to secure alliances. The system was stable, it was sophisticated, it was interconnected. It was a mosaic built on palaces, trade, and bronze. Bronze was the engine of this world. It made the plows that fed the empires and the swords that defended them. But bronze has a fatal flaw. It is an alloy. It requires two metals, copper and tin. Copper was plentiful, especially on the island of Cyprus. But tin was rare. It had to be imported over thousands of miles from as far away as modern-day Afghanistan. This entire glittering world depended on complex, fragile international supply chains. A system so interconnected that if one piece of the mosaic fell, it threatened to bring the entire picture crashing down. And in 1200 BCE, something or someone pushed the first piece. The catastrophe did not happen overnight.
It was a wave of destruction that rolled across the Mediterranean over several decades. But when it hit, it was final. The Hittite Empire vanished. Around 1190 BCE, their capital, Hattusa, was violently sacked and burned to the ground, never to be inhabited again. The empire that had stood as Egypt's equal simply ceased to exist. In Greece, the Mycenaean palaces were next. Pylos, Mycenae, Tiryns, all were destroyed. The complex bureaucracy, the linear B tablets, all gone. Knowledge of writing itself disappeared from Greece for over 400 years. The population plummeted by as much as 90%. The great trading port of Ugarit on the Syrian coast saw its end coming. Archaeologists digging in the ruins of the city found a clay tablet still baking in the kiln of an oven where it had been placed when the attack came. It was a desperate, final letter from the king of Ugarit to the king of Cyprus. It reads, "7 ships. That's all it took to begin the end of a kingdom." Ugarit was burned and abandoned, its final plea preserved forever in the fire that destroyed it. The wave of destruction rolled south. It consumed Cyprus, the heart of the copper trade. It leveled cities across the Levant. Only one power remained standing, the last titan, Egypt.
Pharaoh Ramesses III knew they were coming. He had seen the world fall apart around him. On the walls of his mortuary temple at Medinet Habu, he carved his testament, a massive, detailed inscription of the war he waged for the survival of his kingdom. It is here, on these walls, that we get our clearest look at the enemy. Ramesses describes a vast alliance of peoples. He gives them names: the Peliset, the Checker, the Sherdan, the Ekwesh, the Weshesh. To us, they are known collectively by the name he gave them, the Sea Peoples. His inscription, written with divine confidence, describes the threat. But Ramesses was ready. He describes a massive land battle and, crucially, a naval battle fought in the Nile Delta. The Egyptian reliefs show us this battle in brutal detail. The Sea People's ships, tall and sail-powered, are trapped by the Egyptian fleet. Egyptian archers rain death from the shore. Egyptian marines, armed with grappling hooks, board the enemy ships and slaughter their crews. Ramesses boasts of a total victory. "I have overthrown those who invaded them from their islands. They were dragged in, enclosed, and prostrated on the beach, slain and made into heaps. I have made the river mouths prepared like a strong wall, with warships, galleys, and barges. They were completely equipped, both fore and aft, with brave warriors." Egypt had survived. It was the only Bronze Age power to do so, but it was a hollow victory. The war had exhausted the treasury and broken the empire. Egypt would never again be the superpower it once was. Ramesses had saved his kingdom, but the world he knew was gone. The Gilded Age was over. The Dark Age had begun. And it leaves us with the ultimate question. We have the names. We have the pictures. But who were they? For over a century, the identity of the Sea Peoples has been the single greatest puzzle of Mediterranean archaeology. We have no text from the Sea Peoples themselves. They were illiterate, or at least their writings did not survive. We are left to assemble a mosaic from broken pottery, battlefield carvings, and linguistic clues. The evidence points not to a single group, but to a perfect storm of many. Theory 1. The climate collapse.
The first piece of the puzzle might not be a person, but the planet itself. Evidence from tree rings and pollen cores suggests that around 1200 BCE, the Mediterranean was struck by a severe, centuries-long mega-drought. This wasn't just a bad summer. This was systemic climate change. Crops failed, famine spread. The highly centralized palace economies of the Mycenaeans and Hittites, which depended on massive food surpluses to pay soldiers and bureaucrats, collapsed from within. In this scenario, the Sea Peoples were not an invading army. They were refugees. They were entire populations, farmers, warriors, families, fleeing a dying land, packing their belongings onto carts and ships, looking for any new place to live. This explains a crucial detail in the Medinet Habu carvings. The Sea Peoples didn't just bring warriors. They brought their families. This wasn't a raid. It was a migration. Theory 2. The refugee warriors. So who were these refugees? The names Ramses gave us are our biggest clues. The Peliset are almost universally identified as the Philistines, who would later settle on the coast of Canaan, the land that would bear their name, Palestine. Their early pottery looks remarkably Mycenaean. The Sherden are linked by many scholars to the island of Sardinia. The Ekwesh might be the Achaeans, one of the names for the Greeks. This suggests the Sea Peoples were a loose confederation of displaced peoples, many of them former Mycenaeans and their allies, cast out from their burning palaces in Greece. They became a rolling tide of pirates, raiders, and settlers, absorbing other groups as they went. Theory 3. The systems collapse. But the puzzle is still missing a piece. Other evidence points to massive earthquakes leveling many cities right before the final collapse. This is the systems collapse theory, championed by archaeologist Eric Klein. It wasn't one thing. It was everything, all at once. Imagine, a mega-drought causes famine, weakening the empires. Earthquakes shatter city walls and disrupt trade routes. The supply of tin from Afghanistan is cut off. Bronze weapons can no longer be mass-produced. As the palace systems break down, internal rebellions begin. Peasants no longer receiving grain rations from their king rise up. Mercenaries no longer getting paid turn on their masters. And to this chaotic vacuum, sail the Sea Peoples. They are not the cause of the collapse. They are the final symptom. They are the scavengers picking apart the corpses of empires that were already dead or dying.
The world that emerged from the ashes was unrecognizable. The interconnected, literate, globalized world of the Bronze Age was gone. In Greece, the Dark Age began. Population centers vanished. Art, culture, and architecture reverted to simpler forms. The memory of the great palaces faded into myth, becoming the legends of a lost golden age of heroes. In Anatolia, the Hittites were gone forever, their language and culture lost to time. In the Levant, the Peliset, the Philistines, settled and became a new power, their story forever intertwined with their new neighbors, the Israelites. Egypt survived, but as a shadow of its former self, beginning a long, slow decline. The old order was shattered. But out of this darkness, something new was born. The old, top-heavy palace systems were replaced by smaller, more agile city-states. Iron, a metal that was locally available and didn't require complex trade, replaced bronze. And most importantly, from the ashes of the lost scripts, a new, simpler form of writing emerged: the alphabet. The collapse in its totality wiped the slate clean. It ended the Bronze Age, and in doing so, created the world that would eventually give birth
to classical Greece, the Roman Empire, and our own. The Sea Peoples remain one of history's greatest mysteries. They are a mosaic of refugees, pirates, and opportunists, a faceless wave that was both a symptom and a cause of a world's end. Their story is a chilling reminder that no civilization, no matter how powerful, wealthy, or sophisticated, is permanent. A reminder that even the most interconnected systems can and do fall. The question for us is, what forgotten fragments of our own history are we ignoring? And what pieces of our mosaic will future historians be left to find? Thank you for watching this chapter of Mosaic History. The past is filled with these incredible lost stories, and we're just getting started. If you want to help us uncover the next piece of the puzzle, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. And we want to hear from you. What hidden history or unsolved mystery do you want us to investigate next? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, keep digging.